Do you like playing with balls? No, I'm not talking about footballs. I mean your balls. Our friends at Manscaped, the global leaders in below-the-waist grooming, want you to shave your pubes with the Tom Brady of ball trimmers, the brand new Lawnmower 4.0. Only the GOAT technology for the greatest balls of all time. When you're going towards the end zone, make sure you use the right tools for the job and choose Manscaped. 2 million men worldwide trust them, so join the movement with our exclusive offer by using code DTR at manscaped.com for 20% off plus free shipping.
Stafford under pressure, and a tuck it, and he's in! Darrell Henderson, he's off and running! Has Woods, touchdown! Cooper Kupp just went up and took it away.
Van Jefferson for the touchdown.
Aaron Donald smothers him. Jalen Ramsey put the pop on him. Sacked by Leonard Floyd, having a day again.
Darius Williams with a diving hit. Jordan Fuller comes up with his second interception of the night.
All right, guys, welcome back to Downtown Rams. As always, I'm your host, Alexis Kraft, joined here with my co-host, Jake Ellenbogen. And guys, with the NFL season here, you need a sports book with integrity and longevity like BetUS. You may already know this, but BetUS have been pioneers in the sportsbook industry for almost 3 decades, thriving and paying their loyal customer base. That is BETUS.com, and they have loads of bonuses. Join now or call 800-69-BET-US. That is 800-MY-BET-US. You receive a 125% sign-up bonus by using bonus code RAMS125. They have re-up and referral bonuses also. BetUS is known as America's favorite sportsbook for a lot of reasons. BetUS has all your NFL games with team and player props and loads of futures. You can bet UFC matches, props, PGA golf, round matchups, and live betting on most sports as well. The online casino has hundreds of games, and the racebook has all your horse tracks. They have every bet type imaginable, and the sharp BetUS mobile platform is easy with full betting options. Follow my lead and get your phone, online, and social sports betting partner with integrity and longevity like I did. BetUS. You bet, you win, you get paid. BetUS. All right, Jake. We are coming to everyone a couple days after the Rams went to Houston and took on the Houston Texans. And we won that game pretty steadily, I might add. And we are going to talk about that game, kind of give a recap and give our thoughts. But first, there's a couple items on the agenda to talk about regarding the Rams, who have been in the news a little bit the past couple of days, or I should say really the last 24 hours. But Jake, the first thing I want to bring up is the Rams have traded for outside linebacker Von Miller from the Denver Broncos. Von Miller, one of the best outside linebackers in recent NFL history, is coming to the Rams, and the Rams have given the Broncos a 2nd and 3rd round pick in 2022. So, 2 second-day draft picks, kind of, a big deal. But for a player like Von, obviously, well worth it. He is a very good outside linebacker. Jake, what were your thoughts on this trade when it happened?
I was in disbelief. I was watching the Scream TV series, and then I get a notification from Adam Schefter, and it was a long tweet. So it said Von Miller had been trading, but you had to scroll down on the notification to actually see it. I was like, oh my God, this isn't the Rams, is it? And I saw Los Angeles Rams. I was like, oh my God. It's a transcendent move. You talk about a guy that, he's 32. Les Snead has already talked about the idea of, bringing him back long-term, whatever long-term means. That might be stretched out a little bit, probably a 2-year deal. But regardless, they give up a 2nd and 3rd round pick. And I mean, essentially that's like giving up Tutu Atwell and Ernest Jones for, one of the best premier pass rushers in football. He missed last week. It was the first game he missed. Before that, he was top 5 in pressures. He has a pressure rate that's right on par with Aaron Donald, and he still has it. For people that, think that he is washed up or that he has lost a step, yes, he's been hurt. But this is somebody that, make no mistake about it, he's still getting, chipped off the line of scrimmage by tight ends. He's still being redirected. He's still being doubled. And he's just finding a way to get to the quarterback. And he has some incredible tape even this year. Tape as far as the line, of, you look at the Raiders game and you watch one of the best, tight ends in the league And Darren Waller, he chips him at the line of scrimmage, gets around him, and then goes 1v1 with Jermaine Illuminor, who he kind of ducks underneath. And that's a big thing. You know, Von Miller just has incredible level of bend. And so the Rams are getting really a pass rusher off the edge that they haven't had since Robert Quinn had 17 plus sacks that season in St. Louis.
Yeah, I mean, phenomenal player, you know, definitely one of the players more well-known throughout the league. You know, most people who watch football, even if they're not super into the NFL, like you or me or a lot of people that listen to this podcast, they still know who Von Miller is, and for a good reason, because he's, you know, been very electric and very consistent over the years as well. When I saw this trade, I was surprised, honestly, as I think most people were. I thought that we were going to go like inside linebacker, you know, because to kind of backtrack a little bit, you know, the Rams traded away Kenny Young. And, you know, what we're going to, after this, we're going to talk about Desean Jackson. And we knew that we were we were trading Desean Jackson. He had asked for a trade. And it kind of seemed like the pieces were falling into place for the Rams to trade for a big name. And when we traded away Kenny Young and just kind of looking at this Rams roster and looking at where, you know, we have some holes, I think everyone felt that inside linebacker was where the Rams were looking to go. A guy like Miles Jack from Jacksonville was circulating around. And that, I think, is who most people thought the Rams might target. So when I saw Von Miller, I was really surprised, but also obviously like ecstatic that we would get Von Miller on our team. I mean, having him, Aaron Donald, and Jalen Ramsey all in the same defense, that's insane. I mean, it's truly insane. And then you look at, you know, younger guys who might not be quote unquote big names in the NFL yet, you know, Jordan Fuller, Darius Williams, you know, we got Justin Hollins and Terrell Lewis who've been playing well on the outside as well. You know, obviously Leonard Floyd. It's starting to look like a really scary defense. And I'm excited to see Von debut with the Rams on Sunday Night Football. I think that's going to be really exciting. But
as long as they're not Ryan Tannehill.
Right. Yeah. He's not excited. We'll talk about that more in our preview episode, but he's going to be missing Derrick Henry, which is unfortunate for the Titans. But as I mentioned earlier, Desean Jackson, I do want to touch on this a little bit. It is a big topic right now amongst Rams fans, especially on Twitter and Instagram and Facebook, you know, just seeing what all the Rams fans are talking about. If you haven't heard already, Desean Jackson had requested a trade from the Rams a few days ago. That became public knowledge. It wasn't super, like, we don't know entirely how that conversation went. All we know is that he requested a trade and that both parties, quote unquote, agreed that it would be best for him to do so. And they gave him permission to do that. Today was actually the trade deadline, November 2nd, the day that we're recording this. And he was not traded. The Rams could not find a trade partner for him, or I guess I should say he could not find a trade partner for himself because he had requested to seek trades himself. And however it happened, it ended up not happening. So he is expected to be released. That will be official, I think, tomorrow morning or tomorrow afternoon. Desean Jackson will be released from the Rams. Jake, this move. So here's the thing about this. I was surprised when we signed Desean Jackson in the first place. No shade towards him. I was just surprised because I didn't feel it was like a position we needed in free agency. And then, of course, when we drafted Tutu Atwell, I was even more confused. I was confused that we either signed Desean or that we drafted Tutu. And it just became a confusing situation. Then obviously, as we all know, as the season went on, the Rams did not use Desean Jackson a lot. There just simply wasn't a need. So I wasn't surprised that he requested a trade. I think that he had the impression he was going to have a different role with the team than he did. And for better or for worse, it did not work out the way that he wanted, and he wanted out. So, you know, I think I don't have too much to say about it. I mean, it makes sense. What are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, I mean, you know, he wanted out. The Rams gave him that out. I don't think it's the same thing as, you know, you look at a guy like Melvin Ingram, who was playing for a team that isn't 7-1, a team that is struggling to find an offensive rhythm, and a team that, was using him in rotation with Alex Highsmith, who is having a solid year, but he's not having like a Van Jefferson type of year. Like Van Jefferson was clearly outplaying Desean Jackson in all phases. And then when he showed his ability to be that deep threat that everyone has been, just salivating over, there really wasn't much of a role left for Desean Jackson. Now, I don't think this is mutual. I think the Rams did want to keep him. I think he just wanted out. And, furthermore, I'll say that, Melvin Ingram kind of chose the Chiefs in the offseason and then kind of ended up signing with the Steelers. But it was between the Chiefs and Steelers. I think the thing that ticks me off the most about this, and I think Rams fans just included, is the fact that Desean Jackson just wants out, period. This is somebody that has, spoken about how much he wanted to go back home and play in front of the home crowd and win a Super Bowl. And now here you are, you're 7-1. You're playing in front of the home crowd. You've had some impact, but, now you want out, and there's not really a team in mind that you have. You just want it out so bad, the Rams just waived you. And by the way, Desean Jackson could end up getting picked up by the Lions 0-8. And the Rams wouldn't have that contract on the books. The Lions would take it on, and Desean would be left in Detroit at an 0-8 record. So going from 7-1 in potential Super Bowl to 0-8 on the Lions, all of a sudden became possible. And it just kind of goes to show you, sometimes, the grass isn't always greener on the other side. And, Desean throughout his career has been about, he's been about the money. He's been about getting the big contract. You look at Tampa and Washington, leaving Philly. He missed out on that Super Bowl run with the Eagles. He did come back after the fact. And now, I felt like this was his best opportunity to win a Super Bowl. And, I just think he has other priorities, which is fine. But I think that's really what it comes down to at the end of the day. I think he wanted more playing time. I think he wanted stats. I think he wanted money. And he prioritized that over winning a Super Bowl.
Yeah, definitely weird situation. Not super upset about it. I think, it worked out how it was supposed to work out. And whatever, wish him the best of luck. He's going to go do what he's going to do and whatever he thinks is best. But the reason that this becomes interesting now is because Tutu Atwell is now out for the season. He is having season-ending surgery on his shoulder, I believe, which he injured in the game against the Texans. So the Rams at receiver now are somewhat thin. Some might say, we obviously have Cooper Kupp, Robert Woods, Van Jefferson, and now that fourth receiver spot, which was held by Desean Jackson, that we then thought was going to be held by Tutu Atwell, is now somewhat up for grabs. I personally would like to see Ben Skoranek get a shot at that fourth receiver spot. He played in the Texans game, and I thought he did very well. The opportunities that he was given, I get that it was the Texans, but at the same time, I thought that he executed when he needed to. We might see a little bit more Jacob Harris. Jake, what do you think is going to happen with this fourth wide receiver slot?
Well, I think they kind of, showed us that, and I think in a sense, they kind of showed us that they didn't really, it's not a mutual thing with Desean because they utilized Ben Skoranek in this game. So they went with 4 receivers in this game. Skoranek had 3 catches for 30 yards. The reason he's playing over Tutu Atwell before he gets hurt, the reason he's playing over Jacob Harris, because he's more NFL ready. He's the best blocker of the 3. Furthermore, and he played in big time games at Notre Dame. I don't have to tell you that. You're a Notre Dame fan. So is he the fastest? No. Is he the tallest receiver? He's pretty tall, but he's not the tallest. He's not the best in any sort of category. However, I will say this, he's a well-rounded player. And I think, like I always say, you can't play in Sean McVay's offense if you can't block. However, if you can block and you do the little things right, attention to detail and everything, in addition to that, I'm just going to say right now, I won't be surprised if Skoranek ends up being a starter in 3-4 years. I've been told that the Rams liked him. They liked him more than Atwell as far as his progression was going in camp. And he's not a guy to sleep on. And once again, if we're going by, round selection and all of that, keep in mind, Sebastian Joseph-Day, same round as, Ben Skoranek. He's one of the best run defending interior defensive linemen in all of football. They found him in the 7th round, and they found Gerald Everett in the second round. I mean, who's still on the team? Who's making more of an impact? So, I wouldn't just go by, the draft pick there. I think, they look at Jacob Harris as a long-term guy, but he's still raw. And that's the thing is that, could he be like a Calvin Johnson in that offense? Yeah, but he's got to get everything down. Whereas I feel like Skoranek has come in despite having some setbacks with the shoulder. That's the thing I think is so impressive. He hasn't been healthy from the get-go. He had to work his way back from the shoulder injury. And now here he is after the shoulder injury. And, he's playing in week 8 and playing meaningful snaps when the game wasn't out of reach. That tells me a lot about Skoranek and what the Rams feel about him. So I would just say this, and I hope this is the case. If the Rams go out and they sign a John Brown or somebody like that, I'm hoping they're doing that to be the 5th guy and the special teams guy, like returner, and take over Atwell's spot. I want Skoranek as the number 4 receiver. I know you do. I don't have to ask you that. But I definitely want Skoranek as the number 4 receiver because I think he's ready. And I think he kind of exemplifies a lot of what Kadarius Hodge did, the little things he did. In my opinion anyway, that Super Bowl roster in 2018. He's just ahead of the curve, and
life is back on sports bettors. And BetUS has your NBA, NHL, UFC, PGA, and yes, NFL betting lines up on their 27th year and live betting on all of it. Log into BetUS, that is BETUS.com, or call 800-792-3887. That's 800-79-BETUS, BetUS, for 125% bonuses with promo code RAMS125. Customer service pros are ready to get your phone, social, and online sports betting kickoff started now. Play with the proven mainstay in the industry, BetUS. You bet, you win, you get paid. BetUS.com. Ready for an out-of-world experience, fellas? Look no further than the Performance Package 4.0 from Manscaped. That has just taken off in not only the USA, but Canada, the UK, across Europe, Australia, South Africa, and Singapore. Inside this package, you'll find their Lawnmower 4.0 trimmer, Weed Whacker ear and nose hair trimmer, Crop Preserver ball deodorant, Crop Reviver toner, performance boxer briefs, and a travel bag to hold your whole solar system in. First scheduled for liftoff, new Lawnmower 4.0 trimmer. This spaceship is here to guide you on a journey to trim your body, balls, butt, and even your anus. This 4th generation trimmer also features a cutting-edge ceramic blade to reduce grooming accidents. Thanks to our advanced skin-safe technology, the Lawnmower 4.0 has a 7,000 RPM motor and a new multifunction on and off switch that can engage a travel lock and is even waterproof. The Lawnmower 4.0 also has a 4000K LED spotlight you can turn on and off when needed for a more precise shave throughout your travels across the universe. The Performance 4.0 also includes the Weed Whacker. It's like having a little astronaut to chop your worst weeds up the top of your nose and your ears. The Weed Whacker is also waterproof and uses a 9,000 RPM motor-powered 360-degree rotary dual-blade system. This nose and ear hair trimmer provides proprietary skin-safe technology, which helps prevent nicks, snags, and tugs in those delicate holes. Don't forget about the Crop Preserver, ball deodorant, and the Crop Reviver to help your little planets be on their A game while feeling the sun's heat. Manscaped even threw in 2 free gifts to their Performance Package 4.0, the Manscaped Boxers and the Shed Travel Bag. Abort hairy balls, Buzz Lightyear that Woody with Manscaped.
Yeah, I agree. I expect that he's going to get a lot more playing time now, and I am excited because I want to see what he can do. I think, like you said, and I said, he had some flashes. He was in for a couple of plays against the Texans, and I thought that he did well and he made the most of his opportunities. So I would just like to see him get more opportunity. And that's going to lead us into talking now about the actual game. The Rams defeated the Houston Texans in Houston last Sunday on Halloween, 38-22. So we pretty much blew them out because if you watch that game, you know that up until the 4th quarter, we were winning 38-0. We took our starters out wisely in the 4th quarter, obviously to prevent injury. There's no point in in risking any of your starters getting hurt in a blowout game, especially when there's a lot of season left. So our second team went in on both offense and defense in the fourth quarter. And unfortunately, Houston put up 22 points, which we'll talk about. But Jake, in this game against the Texans, it's important, I think, to have perspective that it is the Texans. We didn't go in playing, like the Packers or the Bucks or, the Ravens or whoever you want to say powerhouse team, but it's still an NFL team. It's still, you go into the game giving your all, doing the best that you can, which the Rams did. And obviously their best was better than Houston's best, 38-0 through three quarters. I felt like we were firing on all cylinders. I think that there was still some flashes a little bit in the defense, the bend don't break, where there was a lot of bend, but obviously it worked because they didn't put points on the board for the vast majority of the game. I thought everyone played very well. It was fun to watch. Stafford threw for over 300 yards. Him out there, you saw Cooper Kupp have a big game. Robert Woods had a big game. Darrell Henderson, as you and I said in the preview episode, we expected him to have a big game because the Texans' run defense is just so bad. We just figured that we would just run the ball like crazy, which we did. And Henderson did well. Sony Michel had a few good runs. So my overall impression of this game, Jake, was that the Rams looked really good. I understand it was the Texans, but I still think, it's always a good feeling to see that it would be concerning if our starters went in against the Texans and played really poorly. That would have been a concern, and they did not do that. So what was your overall thought in this game?
Yeah, I thought they finished it kind of lame. I would like to see them finish the game stronger, and you and I both agreed on that. But they really dominated this game. I mean, when the Rams starters came out, the Rams were out. They had out yardage, whatever you want to call it. That's not English, but you get my point. They had outgained them in yardage. That's English. Over 400 yards to 70. So the Texans had 70 total yards when the guys like Jalen Ramsey and Aaron Donald were out. That just tells me that this team, if you're going to go up against Houston, who is a one-win team, then you better beat them convincingly as, one of the best teams in the league. And I mean, I don't understand. The Rams actually fell in a lot of power rankings. They're not even the NFL.com's top 5, which is just a joke. And, it's like the Cowboys beat, the Vikings. And for whatever reason, overnight, the Vikings are all of a sudden a really good team, I guess. So, I just think that the Rams did, what they could do. You play who's on your schedule, and they dominated that game. That game ended up being 38-22. I didn't like the way they finished it, but it was a dominant, shutout, lead when the starters came out. And furthermore, if Sean McVay doesn't take his foot off the gas, they probably score 60 in that game. That game was not close. That was pure dominance. I thought you saw some great things out of the defense and, the different, honestly, this is the least bend don't break style, game plan I had seen them play up until the fourth quarter because, they really were getting after Davis Mills and giving him a hard time and playing very physical. And, this is a huge win, to go on the road like that and win that convincingly. But furthermore, it was huge in a sense that you got to see guys like, aforementioned Ben Skoranek, the third round rookie linebacker who just takes over from Kenny Young and fills right in and has a career day. I mean, that's going to be one of his best games of his career. I mean, that was, interception, tackle for loss, a half sack, 9 tackles, pass breakups. I mean, he was really all over the place. That's Ernest Jones. So I think it was just a really good win for the Rams because they were able to get some contribution out of their rookies. They were able to, this was Darrell Henderson would have run for 200 yards in this game if they gave him the ball more. I mean, he just could not be stopped. They got back to Sony Michel running the football. He ran it well. Just Cooper Kupp doing his thing. Robert Woods finding pay dirt twice. Van Jefferson down the seam. You even got Kendall Blanton in there, on the offensive side. So I thought there were a lot of good things to take away. The special teams unit is still a concern of mine and will be until that gets fixed because, that can lose you, when something goes down to the wire in the playoffs, that could lose you a game. But they were very impressive in this game. And that's the way you have to be, going into Sunday Night Football this week against Tennessee.
Yeah, special teams definitely is not what it was in the Bones era. Definitely, they've given up 2 onside kicks, right? Or they gave up an onside kick a week ago, and it's already slipping my mind. Did they give up one this week?
They did.
They did. Okay.
Yeah,
well, see what I'm saying?
I don't think I've seen that.
That's insane. Like, that is, concerning and not okay. But I want to touch on kind of the way that, you said the way that the Rams finished the game, because I was very upset by that as well. And there's a lot of Rams fans that don't think it's a big deal. And listen, I'm not like upset about it in the sense of I'm like, oh, this is so concerning and da-da-da. I'm just saying that, when your second team goes out there, that's your chance to see what the second team can do.
100%.
And, the team that they were playing was the Houston Texans. So when people are like, oh, so our second team is supposed to do well against NFL starters, it's like, well, they're a really bad NFL team. It's not like we put our second team out there against the fully healthy Packers, right? So
it wasn't even that, though. It was the play calling. It was just so vanilla.
The play calling was bad. There was a lot of really weird mistakes, and it just seemed like we couldn't get anything going on offense or defense. That's why it was disappointing. You'd like to see a little bit more continuity. You'd like to see that those players, have some potential. There just was nothing there. And that was what's concerning, because listen, it's next man up, right? And if someone gets hurt on first team, second team guys coming in, and you want to know that second team guy, you can say, oh, well, they played well, this XYZ, whatever. It's not a huge deal, but I do think that people have a valid reason to be upset that we let the Houston Texans beat us one quarter 22-0 in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
And especially from a competitive side, when you're blowing a team out 38-0, I'm sorry, it bothers me that game only ended up being 38-22. Like, no, that,
it bothers me too.
Yeah,
and,
it just should not have gotten to that point. And that's not, people say, oh, that's negative. It's like, it's not negative. It's just you want your team to do it better.
Yeah, I don't think it's negative. I mean, we'll now think about it. We have all of this unfair narrative from, fans that are like turning on John Wolford and like he would be horrible as the backup. Like, he literally had one starting offensive lineman, Noteboom, at left tackle when he was out there for a series. He had Buddy Howell as his running back. And furthermore, on his first play, he gets absolutely decked. The offensive line without Whitworth didn't allow a sack all game long. Once 4 out of the 5 guys came out of the game, he gets sacked, And then on top of that, it's the whole, well, he threw an interception against the Giants. Yeah, he was hit while he was throwing. And again, it was against the Giants defense that was playing strong. They're, nothing to lose, everything to gain. And then you run these easy concepts. I mean, we're talking about preseason here when you're just calling plays just to play football and not really show your hand. I just don't get that. And I mean, that was the only issue. I don't have any issue taking out your starters. Maybe it was a little too early, especially because they made it a game at the end. Let's not act like, 38-22 is a comfortable win. Especially when they had the ball at the end and you had to, force a turnover there. I that's how I look at it. Any lead can be come back from. The Rams have come back from 21 down, 25 down, 28 down. They may not have won all those games, but we've seen it. And I mean, just even an example in a broader perspective. Do you remember when Ron Rivera basically sat down with a 31 whatever? I think it was 28. Might have been 31-point lead at halftime against the Seahawks to go to the Super Bowl. Do you remember that game? Because the Panthers were so conservative and they were like just assuming they were playing not to lose that they ended up almost blowing that game and sending Seattle to the Super Bowl to play against the Broncos. The Super Bowl that the Broncos won, they almost went up against Seattle because even though Russell Wilson played like crap, the Panthers all of a sudden just assumed they won the game. And that's the thing is that, there is an issue when you're that conservative. I'm not saying you have to blow teams out by 50 like it's college football, but when you take your foot off the gas like that And then, when you put in your backups and you're still not running that offense and you're just basically running we're going to hand it off 3 times and punt deal. Alexis, you saw what happened. The Rams did that. And what did that do? Well, Johnny Hecker punted it. And then, you're basically flipping the field. So because of that, the defense now with backups in are playing, half the field now, and they're backed against the wall. So that's why the defense gave up all those yards, because they were on the field consistently. Poor special teams gave them a nice field position. 2 punts that didn't get, that far past midfield got returned to around midfield. The defense really had a hard time with that. And they gave up a lot of yards, on the final drive. I think they went from the 1 yard line or whatever. But, at the end of the day, it's it's complementary football. And we always talk about that. But what we don't talk about is how you can also, negatively affect, other areas of the game. Because if you're not getting your job done on offense and you're punting in your own territory, it hurts your defense before they're even out there. And that's what I was talking about, because, you finish that game stronger. You run a regular offense. I mean, it's just a golden opportunity, like you said, to get these young guys playing time, like Jacob Harris. I would have loved to see Skoranek and Jacob Harris just get, reception after reception up the field. And if you don't think, John Wolford can do that, go back and watch last year against the Cardinals. He's clearly able to play in this league. They just refuse to run a normal offense.
Yeah, the whole fourth quarter situation was just frustrating. We've outlined a couple issues there, and yeah, just was not a fan of the fourth quarter. Loved the first 3 quarters though. Thought it was good. I think the play calling though, like you've mentioned, is still a little suspect at times.
It was better in this game.
Yeah, it was better.
Yeah,
it definitely was better. And again, like I said, I'm trying to keep perspective. I understand this is the Texans. I'm not saying that, we were playing a different team, but yeah. Sorry, I just got a phone call. I don't know if everyone could hear that. That was really loud. Anyway, yeah. So long story short, guys, we blew out the Texans. There's no need. We can obviously debate the nitty gritty. We blew out the Texans. Very good. We are going to be playing the Titans on Sunday Night Football this week. Very exciting.
Modern throwback.
Yep, wearing the modern throwback. Those white jerseys. Back-to-back weeks,
by the way, because they go up against the Niners on Monday night. So
yeah. Well, guys, that's going to do it for us. We will be back with a preview episode in a few days here, previewing the Rams matchup versus the Titans. But until then, guys, as always, if you like what you hear, please like and subscribe. You can follow us on social media at Downtown Rams. You can follow me on Twitter at the Alexis Craft. You can follow Jake at JK Bogan. And yeah, very exciting. I forgot about the modern throwback, so thank you for reminding me about that. I'm very excited that we're going to be
We had to end
those.
it on a good note.
Yep, good note. All right, guys, we'll see you soon. But until then, stay safe, take care, and go Rams.
Bet with the 3-decade leader, BetUS. Join now for 125% bonus or 200% bonus with crypto using promo code RAMS125. And bet sports, casino, horses, pop culture, and more at betus.com. You bet, you win, you get paid. BetUS.
Get 20% off and free shipping with the code DTR at manscaped.com. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com, and make sure to use code DTR. Unlock your confidence and always use the right tools for the job with Manscaped.